Welcome back to another episode of Iron Rage, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. I am your host, Dave Palumbo, and I am joined by my co-host tonight, the Rager of Ragers, the Master of Disaster, John Romano.
Master of Disaster? That's like Dennis the Menace.
It was a new nickname I added onto your repertoire.
Give me more of them.
Well, John, this week, to get right to it, we have an interesting topic. It seems like there's always something going on in the world of bodybuilding, some controversial sideshow that not everyone knows about necessarily, but if you're a YouTube guy, you're a social media guy, you know the characters. The characters that this week that it involves is Jason Genova, who is an internet sensation. People bill him as a guy who might be a little mentally slow, but I don't necessarily know how slow he is. I think he's a little smarter than people think. And, of course, the one and only Mr. 5% himself, Rich Piana. And before we get to this this topic, what happened was in Star Wars, especially the new movie, they have something called an Order 66. I have to explain this so you guys understand what happened. Order 66 means an invasion, like take over, blast, the person, destroy. Jason Genova ordered an Order 66 on Rich Piana, evidently, because Rich Piana wouldn't make him an athlete, a 5% nutrition athlete. Now, before we get to the topic, and John and I discuss what happened, there was another Order 66 that was ordered over at Muscular Development Headquarters earlier in the week. I didn't know about it, but a rabid fan, sent me this secret video camera that was planted in Muscular Development Headquarters, and the footage was so good that I said, you know what? Our audience has to see this, and since it was relevant to today's show, I figured let's play it. Play it now, Johnny, and then John and I will discuss the topic of the day.
Steve, why do you call Order 66 on me? Now I lose all my clients to Chris Aceto.
I told you, get Kai on MD, and you failed.
I tell Kai to come back home. He say you blow him off when he have no money.
My wife hung up on him by accident. She thought he was a Jehovah's Witness. We're Jewish.
But you call Order 66 on me. Now people think I am bad guru. They think I tell people to use this DNP stuff.
George, everyone knows the only way to lose fat while doing no cardio and eating 600 grams of carbs is DNP.
That is it. I have enough of this character assassination. I challenge you to slap fight.
I'm warning you, I was a college wrestling champ. I had a 14-inch neck. They used to call me Cro-Magnum.
I am 100th degree black belt. I teach Bruce Lee to fight.
Round one, fight.
Ow, George, you're playing too rough. Can you take it easy a little bit?
Why? Cut back!
Oh, I have to tell you guys, it was the first time I watched that. It was interesting. It was definitely an Order 66 called, and George put Blackman in his place, huh?
Oh my God! But according to Blackman, it was 16 3/4 inch neck.
Oh, is that what it was? Maybe he inflated the numbers.
He used to wear his overalls with no shirt underneath, and they called him Cro-Magnon.
Maybe he photoshopped the numbers. That's why these were the real numbers, since this was the security camera, right?
The real numbers are probably like 12.
Yeah.
But,
all right, let's get to the topic of the day. Jason Genova has been asking Rich Piana, can I be an athlete? And he can be a bit of a nudge and a pain in the ass when he wants something. And he wanted to do a collaboration video with Rich, obviously to bolster his social media and his YouTube video pages and hits, I guess you could say. Because all these guys, monetize their YouTube and they want to get paid. So the more hits they get, the more money they get in a check. So he was badgering Rich, and Rich said, "Look, no, I don't deal with terrorists, basically." And Jason said, okay, I'm going to order an Order 66 against you. And he got all his fans to start, I guess, texting Rich and annoying him on social media and threatening his family, his wife. And So I guess Jason went and visited Rich at the at his 5% nutrition booth at the Orlando Europa show this past weekend, and Rich was like, what the fuck are you doing, basically, threatening my family and all this stuff. And I guess Rich challenged him to a slap fight, which Jason Genova seems to love to do, and Rich popped him a few good times. And everyone online not everyone. There were people online that were outraged that Rich would hit a handicapped kid. And all of a sudden, Jason went from this social media savvy guy to this handicapped person, and they were outraged. And Rich is a terrible person, and Rich had to go on and do this explanation video as to what happened. What do you take on the whole situation, John?
Well, first of all, I watched it very intently the all 5 seconds of the slapbox match, and if Jason got hit, it was maybe twice, a couple of good pops. It was nothing. I mean, first of all, he agreed to it. I mean, you're staring at a guy with 22-inch arms and you agree to a slap fight. I mean, you think you're going to get hit or no? I mean, okay, so the guy may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's far from disabled. Yeah. And 9 News has a post, 9news.com, pro bodybuilder, which isn't true. What's it say? I got it here. Pro bodybuilder beats up on disabled fan over obscure Star Wars threat. Okay, now. First of all, it was not maybe the threat as far as Star Wars goes is obscure, this 66 thing. But according to Rich, I mean, he had these people were calling, leaving messages, texting, threatening his wife, threatening him. I'm going to cut your head off and piss down your neck. I mean, really violent, vile stuff. Right. And all he did was not want to hire this guy. I mean, he's not obliged to hire everybody to ask for a freaking contract. So, the kid was a sore loser. Why he went up to him at the booth is beyond me. But at the end of it all, it was patched up. They're hugging each other. The kid says, at least I was man enough to take it, and blah, blah, blah. He didn't seem hurt or in any way disheveled or hurt. It was not hurt at all. In fact, he seemed glorified over the fact that he went toe to toe with this giant guy, and he came out unscathed after 5 seconds.
And the 100-pound elephant, John, the 100-pound elephant in the room is the fact that Genova's people obviously videotaped the whole thing.
Yes.
So it was a setup, essentially. He knew something was going to go on. He might have even purposely challenged Rich to a slap fight so that he can get it on camera and get a lot of hits from it. So he's more savvy than everyone is.
No, yeah, he agreed to it. He was like, it's 5 seconds.
How many hits has that video got, Johnny? This video? Yeah, the slap video. How many hits has that thing got? 127,000 hits that thing's got. He's laughing all the way to the bank. He made money on that video. So you know what? Who's the dummy? We're all the dummies talking about it and giving him the hits and watching the stupid video. I've given him at least 20 hits because I know I've seen it 20 times.
9 News is the dummies. Dummies though. Pro bodybuilder beats up on disabled. Now, if I were Jason, I would be going after 9 News talking about, what do you mean I'm disabled?
Right.
Right. He is far from disabled.
Yeah.
Far from disabled.
First of all, look at the size of him. The kid's got a lot of muscle on his body. He obviously, he's competed before. He lifts. He does all these crazy training videos. If anything, he could probably beat up on a couple of other people out there, I'm sure. He just happened to pick the biggest guy that he could possibly go up against.
Right. I mean, just because you got big, giant arms doesn't mean you're invincible. So,
Rich knows how to fight, too. Rich is not just a big, bulky guy. He fights. He knows how to, box and stuff like that. Right. Jason obviously looks like he's never boxed a day in his life.
No. I mean, but it wasn't even. I mean, it wasn't even a fight. I mean, Rich reached over and popped him a couple times. And the one time there was one that was kind of hard, but it wasn't even hard. I mean, out of all the slaps, there was one that was maybe a little bit that might have stung a little bit, but it was all nothing. They were laughing through the whole thing, and at the end they're hugging and bros again.
Right.
So I for a news channel to pick this up and degrade Piana, saying that a pro bodybuilder is beating up on a disabled kid is just absolutely wrong. And it's part of what's wrong with the freaking media today, that they just sensationalize crap. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. They just look. I mean, Donald Trump, great example. He says that illegal aliens come from Mexico or committing crime, and the media turns it into Trump says all Mexicans are criminals. What are you going to do with that? I mean, it's just wrong the way the media takes stuff like this and sensationalizes it, and irrespective of the truth, they just want ratings. They just want eyeballs. It's more disingenuous than Jason trying to get hits on his YouTube page for slap fighting Piana.
I got news for you. Jason might get an MD contract. Bleckman might sign him with 127,000 hits on that video. Yeah, let's get him a column. We'll give him a column.
He's got to replace Valentino.
Yeah, we can't. He'll be the new rambling freak. Maybe Greg.
The rambling disabled guy.
That's the barely legal freak, right? Or the barely legal disabled freak. Look, the guy's got a pretty damn good physique for someone who supposedly is disabled. I don't know where he's disabled, but he looks pretty damn good to me. Johnny's putting up some footage right now of him. He doesn't look terrible. He looks better than most of the guys I've seen out there competing. Look, you know what it is? He's obviously very smart, and he does whatever handicap he might have. He leverages it so that he can make money from it. You remember there was a disabled comedian many years ago, and people thought it was inappropriate. She was hysterical because she completely played into her disability so that it took away all the awkwardness from it, and people were able to laugh at it. That's what he does. I don't know if he does it purposely or if he does it, just by design, but. I
think it's on purpose.
I think so too.
Look, no one does anything, by accident anymore today. I mean, the social media is such that you never know. I mean, you don't know what's going to be the hook. It could be anything. So, if you're mildly disabled and you think you can pull something off, who knows? It may be that thing that gets 20 million hits. Who knows?
Right.
But you can't blame the guy for trying.
Who was the guy on American Idol? The Asian kid. Remember that kid who was became an internet sensation? What was his name, Johnny?
Johnny knows.
You know what I'm talking about? He had a whole song with him. The Wang. What was? She bangs. She bangs. She bangs. Remember that kid? What was the guy's name? William Hung or something like that. What was his name? William Hung.
William Hung. Yeah.
William Hung. Right. He was all. Jason Genova is a lot more together than William Hung is, or whatever the guy's name was. And he became like a YouTube sensation. He even had a music video made. So, I mean, I think Rich Piana was the pawn in all this. That's what I think. I think Rich was the victim.
Yes. And I totally agree. The guy that came out on the losing end is Rich Piana. He got used. Yeah. He got completely used. Not only that, but he had to endure the freaking, the onslaught of the threats, and again, him, his wife, his family. It's a lot of shit to endure for one, mildly disabled guy to rack up some likes. I think that's completely wrong. And if he does get an MD contract, it's par for the course. Just think of the security cam videos we'll get when we get him in there.
I got to get a Jason Genova puppet now, right?
You need a Kai Green puppet.
I said that. That's my next purchase, I think. I'm going to definitely get another Kai Green. Because the muscle puppets are now growing in popularity, so we got to add a few more characters to the fray, so to speak.
So short of Bleckman shoveling money at Generation Iron, the only other way he's going to get Kai is with a puppet. Yeah, there you go. Well, he's got him now. He maneuvered. It cost him whatever to get him. But you know what? I really like Rich Piana, and Rich is is really the internet sensation. All these guys prey off of him. The people who like the vegan gains who make fun of him, the Louis Marcos who have to report on him, the Jason Genovas who antagonize him. You notice everyone goes after to Rich Piana because they know that's where the hits are. For some reason, right. Rich attracts people. They like the freakiness of him. Whether you agree or disagree with what he looks like or what he does or what he stands for, people like to watch him.
And all these internet junkies, as I call them, the guys who are trying to get the hits on their YouTube channels, all go after him and try to exploit him in a way so that they can garner the hits from his viewers, because they know his viewers will go look and watch what he's doing. And to me, it's despicable. It's really a little bit sign of disrespect and jealousy on their part. And to me, that's why I think that the whole Jason Genova thing was completely choreographed. I completely think he knows what he's doing with it. And I think it's despicable. And you know what? He deserved to get smacked in the face, in my book.
You probably should have gotten smacked a couple times a little harder, you know?
Yeah, I think it was well deserved. People might disagree with me. They say, "Oh, that's terrible. He's disabled." I don't care. I think he deserves it because he knew exactly what he was doing.
You know what? I like Piana. I never met the guy, but from what I know about him, I like the guy. I can see why he gets so much attention, online, especially in social media. And it's one of those things, Dave. The bigger you are, the harder you fall, and the bigger you are, the more people want to take shots at you. You brought up Bruce Lee a minute ago. I know a guy who knew him, and he said every time Bruce Lee was on a movie set, you couldn't walk from one place to another without some guy coming and challenging him to a fight. And you say, "Give me a second, this will be over in a second." And boom, 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 the guy's down. But it would happen like daily, because he's Bruce Lee, he's invincible. So somebody's going to try. If you can knock out the invincible guy, well, then you're invincible.
Unless, John, it was like in the bodybuilding world, there's those bodybuilding schmoes, they like to get beat up, It's almost like it gets them off, So that's probably what some of those guys were.
Yeah, only if it's a girl beating them up.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I kind of reversed it. But
head in a scissor lock, and beating on his forehead with a fist.
Yeah. Well, Rich Piana in the news again, and the Jason Genova Rich Piana controversy continues on. Once again, my opinion, he got what he deserved. I don't care, handicapped, non-handicapped. I think Jason knew exactly what he was doing, and that's just my opinion, and I think John agrees with me. And, of course, we'll be back next week with Iron Rage with a new topic of the day. Stay tuned. For now, we're at the end of an episode here of the Iron Rage. Now, John, before I let you go, I have a question for you. You've been working on your house over there, and a lot of people are asking me where exactly you're living. I've been getting a lot of people emailing me.
I'm technically still living in Mexico, but I happen to be here. What happened was.
Where's here, though? Where's here?
Well, let me explain what happened.
Okay.
My wife and I were watching this house in South Carolina. It went up for auction. Okay. It was like a $400,000 house. It went for auction. We bought it for way less than half. Okay. It was one of those things you just couldn't say no to. Right. But it needed a total remodel. So I came back from Mexico, because I know construction.
Very good.
And I took on this project of remodeling the house with the idea to flip it, to make some money. The problem is, it took 5 months to close. So I was sitting in South Carolina waiting for this to happen. I'm going back and forth to Mexico. And so now finally, the house is closed. We're working on it. So I'm in South Carolina for a while until I get the majority of the work done. I got to go back to Mexico in 2 weeks. I have work to do there, and then I'll be back. So I'm basically still in Mexico. I mean, that's really home for right now until I actually have a home in the States when this one is done. So I'll be a resident of 2 countries for a while.
At least you're not a man without a country, John. That's the most important thing.
I am, however, legally stateless. That's my classification.
So you can't vote. You can't vote for the election. In November.
The what?
You're not able to vote in the election then.
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are, but you said you're stateless.
Yeah, I'm stateless, but I mean, as far as the law is concerned, I'm stateless because I reside outside of the country.
Well, you have to register. Where are you registered to vote? Florida?
Yeah, but I mean, I have a U.S. address because I have, a U.S. bank. I have U.S. mail. I have, people in the U.S. that send me shit. I got to have a driver's license. I got to have an address, but that's all it is.
Gotcha.
And so, I use that address to get my voter registration card.
All right. Well, for all you people who ask, John is a man without a country or a man with 2 countries living in South Carolina right now. We're out of time. I'm Dave Palumbo. We'll see you next week on Iron Rage.